Hello, this is Professor Ujjwal Chowdhury, and today I bring to you the entire domain of biotechnology, biochemistry, life sciences and microbiology. What's this all area about? We have with us a very young, bright, vibrant scholar, professor and researcher to talk on that. Dr. Rudra Prasad Saha, Associate Dean, the School of Biotechnology. Over to Dr. Rudra Prasad Saha, please.
Hello, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This show brings to young people starting from class 9 to graduation, any level,
Yes.
each time one particular domain. So yesterday we had another domain, today we are taking up biotechnology. First of all, let me know from you, what's the exact name of the school that you lead?
The name of the school is School of Life Science and Biotechnology. There are three departments, as you said, biotechnology, microbiology and biochemistry.
Right. They sound very similar to a layman like me, you know. Biotechnology, microbiology and biochemistry all have the common element bio. Could you differentiate between the three and among the three and also tell what are the commonalities?
Absolutely. As you said correctly that there are obviously certain areas which are common to all three subjects, biotechnology and microbiology and biochemistry, all based on biology. So obviously there are certain similarities there, but there are also dissimilarities.
Right.
Mainly in our school we focused on three different aspects of biology, and for example biotechnology is more focused on human diseases, human biology, how human life expectancy can be increased using different product development and research that is focused in biotechnology.
Why do you call it technology? I mean, how close is it to regular engineering and technology domain?
As I said, it is biotechnology very much related to medical field. As I said, when I said that life expectancy can be increased because we all want to live longer. So obviously, and there are different diseases, always try to restrict ourselves. So to overcome that, obviously we need to help as well medical professionals as well as certain technology elements has to be integrated to better regulate or monitor human bodies.
Human body, diseases and technology coming closer, and you get a field like biotechnology on which we will know even more going ahead. But before that, how does biotechnology differ from biochemistry and microbiology? Over to Dr. Saha.
Thank you. Microbiology mainly focused on different types of microbes. Obviously, as you know that within our body there are 1,000 different types of microbes are there. They are in like symbiotic relationship because they are getting foods. Whenever we are ingesting certain foods, they are getting certain foods that they can utilize to stay alive inside our gut. But also they are also giving us certain enzymes, certain protein that our body can use for betterment to run different types of chemical reactions. So we are kind of symbiotic relationship with the microorganisms, and study of these microorganisms are very important because as I said, most of these microorganisms are beneficial to human body, but certain times they can modify to become pathogenic. So we need to understand and study those microorganisms, how they are actually changing their behavior.
So what does virus do? They turn the microbes to pathogenic, or what exactly is their role?
So the different types of viruses are there. Some are pathogenic, some are non-pathogenic. Within our body there are certain viruses that co-inhabited with us, but mainly it's bacteria or other microorganisms. But viruses, as I said, there is basic difference between virus and bacteria. Viruses cannot live outside of a host cell. They always need another cell where they can prey upon and proliferate. Bacteria can live by their own. They don't need another cell to support themselves. So that way virus is kind of dependent on certain cells that they can prey upon. So that's why in most of the cases viruses are pathogenic, either for human or for other organisms.
So this study of microbes, the pathogenic part of microbes, study of what you call the viruses that affect us, and the concept of virus is now known to every child in the world of pandemic of novel coronavirus disease that we are going through at this point of time. So, virology is a part of it?
Absolutely. Virology is very much integral part of microbiology, and students who wants to pursue virology as a career, I will definitely suggest them to pursue microbiology, because it's a very much integral part, as I said, and study of viruses are very important. As you said that we are going through a crisis, pandemic situation, and we do not know how to overcome this situation. For that, we need to study the virus, design drugs and vaccines that can contain the virus.
Interesting. From what you say, virology, the science and learning of viruses, and microbiology, the science and learning of microbes, both the beneficial and the pathogenic ones, including viruses,
Yes.
seem to be very close. So, why do we use two terms, and are they one subset of the other? What exactly is the concept?
Actually, microbiology is the study of all types of microorganisms. Virus is one part of microorganisms,
Very
one
good.
type of
Very
microorganisms. So, viruses are not the only thing that we need to study. We need to study all type of microorganisms, as you said, both beneficial microorganisms as well as pathogenic microorganisms. Virus is only one type.
So, your education that you give here of microbiology includes within its scope and domain the study of virology, and thereby is a larger scope than merely studying virology.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
I get it. Come on, you are educating me. Thank you very much. What's the third area that you work on? Biochemistry.
Biochemistry is the third area, which is we are focusing on clinical biochemistry, mainly at Adamas University, because we know that again it is related to different types of disease in human body, and we need to study. There are 1,000 different types of chemical reaction always go on inside human body or other organisms, and some of these and the products that these chemical reactions produces, if our body is normal, obviously the products are at the normal stages of concentration. If the body behaves differently, by studying what kind of products or molecules the reactions produces, we can actually understand whether we are having any kind of prone to certain diseases or not. Right. That's why doctors prescribe, whenever we have certain issues, we go to doctor and they prescribe different types of tests, and all these tests are basically testing of certain molecule, concentration of molecules, right, whether that is increased or it's going down. That actually give us a certain idea what kind of diseases there are.
Those who study biochemistry goes to the field of chemists, being chemists.
Absolutely.
Then
yes.
What's the difference between biochemistry and pharmaceutical technology? I am sure there are lines of difference and there are lines of similarity. If you could explain in simple words.
Absolutely. Biochemistry, as I said, and it's more based on research on the different types of chemical reactions that our body facing every day. Different, as I said, there are 1,000 different types of chemical reactions are going on. 1,000 different types of parameters are there. We are only able to study probably hundreds of different types of parameter, but still, as I said, different new diseases are upcoming, and we need to understand them. But for that, we need to study certain chemical reactions. So, ongoing research is continuously going on to understand what other molecules that our body is producing and how we can detect it using developing certain technologies. Pharmaceutical biotechnology or pharmaceutical technology mainly relies upon the clinical research part. Once research is done, they are also obviously into the research, but they are more into the, once the research is done, a drug is there, we need to test whether the drug is toxic for our body, what is the dosage. So, it's a long going process to test and retest, different types of phases are there. For certain animal testing are there, then human testing are there. So, toxicity levels, whether we can, how much concentration that drug should be used for the human consumption, those kinds of things.
The focus of pharmacy or pharmaceutical technology is on the dosage.
Yes.
The right dosage for a right person, or right dosage for a what you call in context of a particular disease, particular body type.
Absolutely.
Whereas biochemistry is more basic or fundamental, where the research is on chemical aspects.
Absolutely.
And it goes deeper into that.
Absolutely.
But both are important and they have their independent roles.
Absolutely.
I would also like to understand, a biochemist knows the role of medicines.
Yes.
Because they are involved in the making of medicines as well. So, then how is the role of a biochemist different from the role of let us say a doctor, a regular health professional, a doctor, MBBS doctor?
Okay. As I said, the biochemistry is a more basic subject, and obviously MBBS degree or MD degrees are more application oriented, where once the different researchers find out this drug probably we can use to contain certain kind of diseases. Now obviously certain pharmaceutical industry or pharmaceutical biotechnologists, we find out the dosage of the drugs, what is the optimum dosage that can be used. But a medical practitioner or MBBS degree holder has a license to prescribe the drug. He going to study all the symptoms the person having, and then using his or her own experience they can prescribe. Biochemists cannot prescribe any drug to any human body. They don't have that license, but they are most into research part.
So again, a biochemist does the research which leads to medicines as well.
Yes.
And pharmacy looks into the dosage part of it and the usage of that medicine in specific contexts.
Absolutely.
And the doctor prescribes.
Yes.
They have the license to prescribe and treat. So that's the core difference. I'm just talking from a layman's perspective. Do doctors also get into research and get into the role of the biochemist? How does it go globally?
Actually, everybody should be involved in the research. In India, my experience is doctors, not many doctors are into research. Most of them are into prescribing drugs and associated with different organizations. But in USA, if you look at USA, almost all of them are involved in research, because drugs are on prescription of drug, dosage, and it's an ongoing process, because as you said, newer microorganisms are coming up. They are turning into pathogenic strains, and they are causing different types of disease. So we don't have vaccines or drugs for that. So doctors should also involved in research more, rather than any other, only the biotechnologist or microbiologist or biochemist per se, because it's a big field. Not many people are involved into, more manpower required. So every sector, everyone should join into the research for the development and betterment of our society.
That's a message for Indian healthcare workers or doctors particularly, who are the helms of the healthcare industry here. So doctors must lead to research or must involve in research, because their field experience can contribute to the development of new medicines much better than a pure researcher.
Absolutely.
Like a biochemist. And an association or synergy between biochemists, the pharmacists and the doctors. Yes. Together can have a far better result for mankind. That's really a good and important learning that you have brought forth, Dr. Rudra Saha. Thank you for that. Going into the next area, let me come back to, you have given a huge background to the field of biotech, biochemistry, pharmaceutical technology, microbiology and medicines. So from that, if we come to your school, the School of Biotechnology and Biochemistry, how do you look at the school? What are the strengths? What is the intellectual capital here? What is the infrastructure you have? And what are the programs that you bring forth? If you could look into that.
Absolutely. In the School of Life Science and Biotechnology, as I mentioned, there are 3 departments: biotechnology, microbiology and biochemistry. And the department has various strength, or the school per se has various strength. I can go on for a long time, but let's concise it into certain points. For example, first I can talk about the course structure. The course structure is UGC recommended or developed CBCS pattern, choice based credit system pattern. But obviously we cannot actually restrict ourselves into the CBCS pattern. We go beyond that. We have added various other modules which actually help our students to choose whether they can go for the company career or go for a research career. So we have added additional modules. For example, interdisciplinary research, because most of the, what I have seen, that most of the universities or institute restrict their research into their own domain. They are not very interdisciplinary. We, in our Adamas University, we actually taken the steps to research should be interdisciplinary.
Right, very right.
Because without
nowadays, these boxes that we make of subjects is for our understanding.
Absolutely.
It's for easy understanding. Life is not in boxes. So even when we look at physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology and all, in real life many of these are overlapping, many of the concepts that we discuss are overlapping. So obviously, and in your field, which is purely related to life sciences,
Absolutely.
in every field, they are interdisciplinary. So what are the interdisciplinary, you do it with engineering, with pharmacy, or with sciences? Which are the areas that you do interdisciplinary work?
Actually, yes. Actually, we do interdisciplinary research with almost all the schools at Adamas University. We do interdisciplinary research with engineering. Biotechnology is one of the major subjects where we focused. As I said, there are lots of product development, and engineering is one of the area where we actually very much collaborative. So engineering is one of the field. Pharmaceutical technology is definitely we do interdisciplinary research with them. We do interdisciplinary research with science school. We also do interdisciplinary research with law school. Actually, when as I said, we have to develop a product, but there are obviously certain laws are related, because we are working with humans. There are ethical issues, and clinical research. There are lots of laws are involved. We cannot just test any new drug to the human. So laws are involved. So we are very closely work with law school, do interdisciplinary research with them. We also started doing certain kind of interdisciplinary research with social media, social schools, because there are psychological issues are there. There are certain societal issues are there. For example, COVID-19. It actually affects all different types of sector. So many different schools we are involved in. We want to involve in other schools also, because the COVID-19 situation showed that we are not basically independent. We have to work together to solve the problem.
So once upon a time, the focus of education was narrower, nicher, more specialized. Today, along with specialization, the idea of interdisciplinarity is taking roots, and I really appreciate the approach that you have. So we have got an idea. You have BTech, MTech both in biotech, and you have BSc and MSc, both in biochemistry and microbiology. And these are 3 2 years, and BTech, MTech is 4 2 years, 4 and 2 years.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Very clear. What is the basic qualification of an incoming learner in any of these fields, the 3 departments that you have? And what sort of mindset are you looking? What sort of skill set are you looking in them?
Okay. The eligibility criteria for undergraduate programs are any science subject. Any students who passed 10+2 with science subject, they are eligible to choose any of these subjects. But that's the minimum eligibility criteria. Okay, we are looking for minds which are rational minds. They can have the ability to calculate, because as I said, there are lots of product development involved in this research. Nowadays, nobody is just studying basic biology. Everything is application oriented. When we are talking about application oriented, obviously we are talking about development of certain products. For that, you need analytical mind. Okay. So the mind should have ideas how to analyze different types of problems. For example, COVID-19. We have given certain small project to our existing students, that how you can change the issue, or you can what are your perspective to tackle the COVID-19 situations. So, and they have come up with different types of ideas, and some are very good, and they submitted those ideas to different funding agency also. The students are actually submitting their project ideas, and we want to see these kinds of minds who are joining these sectors, biology sector, because as India is a developing country, we are relatively poor from other countries, USA or UK, but we have rich minds. We have students who are capable of doing these kinds of research very good. We want to attract all sectors, not only from science. We actually want to attract students from all sectors, even arts and others, commerce background.
But admission only science students can take.
Right now, obviously, yes. only admission, but students who are
and PCB, PCM both can take.
PCB and PCM both can take, but I want to give that message that obviously students can choose their career whatever they like, but the students who are currently studying at 9 or 10, they have not decided what streams they are going to choose. So as you know, the crisis in the COVID-19 crisis has shown that we don't have enough health workers. Health worker doesn't mean only doctors and medical professionals. There are also biologists, biotechnologists, microbiologists, biochemists, pharmaceutical industry specialists, everyone is involved. We don't have enough manpower in these sectors. because most of them are onto different sectors probably, and healthcare we don't have enough probably emphasis, we have not given a proper emphasis on the healthcare sector. We need more manpower, more analytical minds who can actually find out cure for these kinds of disease, because COVID-19 is going to be the only disease that we are going to face in next 1 or 2 decades. Probably these kinds of diseases will come again and again. We have to live with these kinds of things. So we need more workers, so that as you see, lots of health workers are dying because they have to treat patients, thousands of different types of patients. We don't have enough manpower. So I will urge those students who are now studying in class 9 and 10 to think about biology as one of the career options, because there will be lots of opportunities in the future that you can think about, not only in the research but also in private sector, government sector and other sectors where we can help the health workers.
Adamas University, pursue excellence.
Biosciences and technological developments based on biology, including entrepreneurship in this sector, are on the rise in India. We are home to many developments in all forms of biotechnological products with applications in food, nutrition, healthcare, packaging, etc. The unique BTech and BSc programs in Adamas School of Biosciences and Biotechnology are path-breaking academic innovation in this sector. Welcome to the world of biotechnology.
My research is on my way. I am very much proud to be a part of Adamas University.
Cricket is my passion and I am proud to be a part of Adamas University.
You have misused, I believe.
Hi, I'm Debosmita Biswas.
This is Kunal Kanti Maiti.
I'm Srijoni Paul. This college has given me placement in one of the best companies in US staffing, which is Iconma. I am proud to be a part of that.
So, when you study biology or life science in school, you thought this is one unique, very specialized area dealing with biology. Now you understand so many things can be done from it. We could be studying microbes and microorganisms through microbiology. You could be studying the human aspects and and applying technology for healthcare through biotech. You can be studying the chemical aspects of biology or creating medicines and all that through biochemistry. You can be studying the dosages that you need to give, the right dosages for every disease and for every body type through pharmaceuticals. You can be prescribing drugs and treating through medical science. You can be taking care of the ancillary medical services through the various ancillary medical services, whether it's nursing or physiologist or physiotherapist and many others. So there is a entire gamut of huge amount of domains and specializations and professions that you can get into from the field of life science and biology. In fact, I didn't know it when I was in class 9 and 10 and had to study life sciences as one of the subjects. Great to know that. Would you also like to speak a bit more on the infrastructure that you have in your campus in your school, and the type of human resources, the intellectual capital, the number, the quality, the background, the universities they have been associated with before joining here. So, on all these, if you could speak a bit more.
Absolutely. As you know, biotechnology, microbiology and biochemistry are not regular biology subjects. These are all application oriented. So, obviously, you need guidance from teachers who are actually involved in these kinds of application oriented subject. They have rich knowledge, experience working in these fields. Fortunately, at Adamas University in our school, all the teachers are highly experienced, all are doctorate, PhD holders, they have postdoctoral experience from foreign universities. Many of them actually done their PhD in foreign universities like University of Arizona, USA, they have worked in University of Texas at Austin, they have worked in San Diego State University. There are faculty members who worked in Australia, reputed university in Australia, some of the faculty members who worked in Europe, and they have rich experience to working in this research field, application oriented field, and some of the faculty members are actually gotten international fellowships like Fulbright fellowship, EMBO fellowship. All these are prestigious fellowships are given to international fellow researchers. And so, I would say that the department or the school is capable enough to run these programs. They have rich experienced faculty members who have vast experience in working in reputed universities and as well as companies in different parts of the world. And we have, and also as you said, the infrastructure. These very
before you talk about infrastructure,
yes,
across the 3 departments and across 6 courses, 3 bachelors and 3 masters, what is the number of the full-time faculty that you have?
We have 20 full-time faculty members.
Good.
We do not have any part-time faculty members, but we have collaboration. Technicians are there. We have collaboration with different research institute and companies. So, sometimes visiting professors visit us, teach our students go there.
Even industry people?
Industry people regularly come here, teach our students also go there.
I am also told you have a very reputed Professor Emeritus, Dr. Sanjeev Ghosh, also supporting you.
Absolutely. Sanjeev Ghosh is one of the advisors of our different schools, School of Science as well as School of Life Science and Biotechnology. He has worked with Nobel laureates also.
Yes, that is important. Dr. Sanjeev Ghosh, the long-term principal of Presidency College, is a globally known professor of chemistry who has worked with Nobel laureates also in the past and has been an academician of repute in India for a very long time, and he is an advisor to your department and the university as such.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you were talking about infrastructure.
Yeah. Also, we have another very reputed faculty members or scholar, Dr. Amalesh Mukhopadhyay, who is the director of research and innovation section. He was associated with DST.
Yes.
And
I must tell for clarity of the audience, Department of Science and Technology of Government of India is an apex body which actually supports research and development in various scientific laboratories and universities across the country. So, DST advisor is a very significant role where someone determines the direction in which various research projects would go and the focus areas of the DST in that given year. And Dr. Amalesh Mukhopadhyay has been advisor to the DST Government of India, who is now the chairman of the Innovation and Incubation Cell of the Adamas University and closely associated with your school.
Yes.
Thank you for that information. If you could speak about infrastructure now.
Yes. Infrastructure wise, these 3 programs actually demands lots of infrastructure. As all these are application oriented, so different equipments, instruments, consumables who are very expensive are required. Fortunately, we have all. To support all these 3 programs, biotechnology, microbiology, biochemistry, we have very much all different types of equipments that we can think about. Our students can use all of those equipments are there in the department, as well as with consumables. Also, apart from that, also I want to point out that here every students actually do their experiments by their own hand. It does not matter whether the instrument is like of 10 lakhs worth or it is a 10 rupees worth. Every instrument they use by their own hand, and that is actually required, because if you do not use instruments or do a certain experiment by your own hand, you actually don't understand how it's going, because using theory or reading theory.
Could you name some of the most advanced equipments, research tools and configurations of them and all that you have? Can you just give a little
Some
idea?
of the instruments that our students can handle, undergraduate and both postgraduate, like double beam spectrophotometer, where you can actually pass different types of light and measure what are the different contents in the chemical, and that's a very sophisticated instrument. You can actually there are fluorescent microscope also there. There are fluorescent spectrophotometer also there. These are technical terms, but these are very sophisticated instruments. Phase contrast microscope, where actually we can see, we know microscope, and usually we see dead animals, dead cells or microorganism under microscope. We have a microscope where we can actually see live cells.
Oh.
Like these cells are not dead actually, they are moving, and we can actually detect them. So we can directly add certain kinds of drug to that microorganism and see how they are behaving, what kind of behavior they are having after addition of those molecular chemical compounds. That students can actually visualize in real time. So those are some of the sophisticated instruments they actually handle by their
Interesting. And at the level of university, and that too in Bengal, this sort of advanced infrastructure to be present is a great boon for the people who are studying here in this part of the world. What sort of research work is happening in the school? You have PhD scholars, do you have market research consultancy projects and research from corporates? So what sort of research projects are happening now?
We have different types of research project, not only from Government of India, but also different private company organizations. Currently we have two DST project, Department of Science and Technology and Science and Engineering Board of India. They actually gave us two projects near about 1 crore of rupees, and those two projects are running at this moment at our school. Also there are private company, they regularly do consultancy services with us, also provide funds to do research. Mainly right now we have a certain agro based company that provide research fund to do certain tissue culture work in our. Also we got research fund from NVIDIA to do actually analyze big data in bioinformatics. So these kinds of funds are there.
That's interesting. Bioinformatics. We have been listening to or hearing about this for a long time. So bioinformatics, do you have any course specific to that, or it's a module or area under a regular program, or is there any program on bioinformatics? Are you planning anything? Can you just speak a bit on that? What does it include to begin with?
Actually, bioinformatics, we found that bioinformatics is one of the major application oriented topic that every program should have. That's why we have included this module in every segments. Students of microbiology, biotechnology and biochemistry all have to study bioinformatics in undergraduate and postgraduate level. The most important part of bioinformatics is that it reduces manpower, it reduces cost of the experiment, because biological experiments are of it's very expensive, because initially you do not know how many different types of experiments you have to do. So without knowing anything, researchers have to perform like 100 of different types of experiment. That consumes lots of chemicals, different types of equipments are there. So it's a expensive research program. But what bioinformatics does, it actually reduces, it gives you lead certain hypotheses. Like instead of doing hundreds of different types of research, you can focus on these 10. So my hypothesis, by analyzing data, what are the data available, we can analyze and predict that these are the possible outcomes the research can have. So we can only focus on those part and validate by using experimental procedures. That actually reduces the cost of manpower as well as the equipment, and also reduces the time.
And it's an component of every program that you have.
Yes.
Do you find that there is a possibility of independent BSc or MSc in bioinformatics in future?
Actually, we are planning to start one master's program in biotechnology probably from next year. Undergraduate biotechnology, only bioinformatics would be difficult because you need
niche
certain
area,
prior knowledge. Knowledge is required.
So what would you call it? MSc Bioinformatics?
It's MSc in Bioinformatics.
Very nice. That would be unique in this part of the world. Moving ahead, I mean, you have given quite a large expanse of knowledge about this field, and for me and my viewers, I am sure that this is something that we are learning which we didn't know about much. Maybe the words we knew, but exactly how do they differ, how do they influence human life, and how are they operative in real life, those are the things that we are learning. Let me for a moment try to understand anyone who comes to study any of these three departments. Where do they go after their courses are over? Bachelor's, master's, both in corporate, in research, in academics, in consultancy. What sort of jobs and which sort of organizations take their services? If you could dwell on that area.
Absolutely. There are various sectors the students can go. I can broadly divide them into two sectors. One is academic field and other is corporate field. In corporate sectors, there are different segments where our students can go. For example, medical and pharmaceutical field. Lots of companies recruit students from these fields. For example, Biocon, Dr. Reddy. There are students, Sun Pharma. Some of our students actually got basically placement into Biocon and last couple of years.
Yes, Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, the legendary entrepreneur in the field of biotechnology. In fact, India must be really proud of a lady of her stature, Dr. Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, who has founded Biocon, and which is one of the leading biotechnology companies. But there are many more, I am sure.
Many more. Many pharmaceutical industry, for example, Lupin is there, Mankind Pharma is there. So we have collaboration with different pharmaceutical industries. Our students has internship as well as they provide placement opportunities for them. So medical pharmaceutical field is one of the sector where our students or any students from studying biotechnology, microbiology, biochemistry can go. There are another big field which is consumer product. For example, whenever we are using certain products, for example, we are brushing our teeth with toothpaste, we are washing our clothes with detergents, or we are actually using moisturizer, we are using shampoo. Everything that comes in contact with human requires thorough test by biotechnologists and microbiologists whether they are actually useful for the human body or not, because they can cause different types of disease, skin rashes and other things. So these fields also the companies recruit our students.
Adamas University. Pursue excellence.
Biosciences and technological developments based on biology, including entrepreneurship in this sector, are on the rise in India. We are home to many developments in all forms of biotechnological products with applications in food, nutrition, healthcare, packaging, etc. The unique BTech and BSc programs in Adamas School of Biosciences and Biotechnology are path-breaking academic innovation in this sector. Welcome to the world of biotechnology.
Welcome to Adamas. My research is on my way. I am very much proud to be a part of Adamas University.
Cricket is my passion and I am proud to be a part of Adamas University.
You have misused, I believe.
Hi, I'm Debosmita Biswas.
This is Kunal Kanti Maiti.
I'm Srijoni Paul. This college has given me placement in one of the best companies in US staffing, which is Iconma. I am proud to be a part of Adamas University.
So guys, when you find a particular chemical shampoo or a chemical thing has led your hair graying or falling, understand the quality check hasn't been done, the biochemists were not hired properly by the company and the standards were not maintained, the compliances were not done, which has led to problems. I mean, there is a thought that many a time people have that chemical products, whether it's shampoo or other things, they are more harmful if we dwell upon natural products which come from herbs and all, they would be better. What's your take on that?
That's true. That's true. That's what thorough research is required in this field, so that those chemicals can be utilized. And actually, even though it is true that certain natural products are good, but natural products also have certain toxic products.
Yes, very good.
Intermingled with them, and we need to separate them out.
Right.
We need to filter them out so that we can only use the good product, natural sources from the natural sources, and that's what these consumer companies are doing.
So just being herbal is not enough.
No, absolutely.
We have to do, the biochemist role is there as well.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's why development, right? We know our natural products is good, but probably not all of them are good.
Right,
so you have to filter the toxic products out.
Right. You were talking about research as well. This was the corporate area.
Yes.
These are the areas where youngsters can go after your courses. So they join as trainees, or they join as biochemists. They join in what format? In what under what designations?
Different designations. For example, for microbiology, a student from biology field can join as a quality control officer. Because that's a very good area where lots of microbiologists are being hired, because quality control is part of every corporate segments, every consumer product. Food technology is another big sector where lots of companies are actually now involved into. Amul is a big brand, lots of different types of product, but microbiologists are required there, because whenever we are talking about dairy and food, there are microorganisms also involved. Because in milk or milk related product, we actually using microorganisms to develop those kinds of product. So microbiology is absolutely required for quality control.
So just for my knowledge, recently there has been report that you can make synthetic milk, you can make artificial milk, which is not really cow's milk. How does a biochemist understand that, or get to know that, or microbiologists understand that?
Actually you can make any type of product if you know what are the ingredients. If you through research, if you know these are the 4 ingredients that makes the product, you can manufacture all those 4 types of ingredient, mix it.
So you can manufacture milk as well.
Absolutely.
And that may be harmful also, right?
Then you have to test.
Okay.
Then you have to test whether that is harmful or not, whether it is good for human consumption or not. So thorough checks in every level is required, and that can only be done through professionals from this field.
So that's something that the viewers have come to know, that there could be synthetic milk or artificial milk by understanding what are the ingredients that go into making of milk, and it can be harmful, it may not be harmful, depending on the thorough check and research on that. Okay. Apart from the corporate jobs, what are the other type of jobs that the youngsters can do?
Absolutely. There is a big sector in research, both in private as well as government sector, because if a person wants to pursue research as a career, they can definitely do. They can get jobs in government sector as a principal investigator, assistant professor. They can get into and then do research. They can get into different research institutes. They hired researchers as a principal investigator in those. For example, in India, in Kolkata, there are different research organizations like Shah Institute of Nuclear Physics, there are IICB, and then there are Bosch Institute, and these are the sectors where actually recruit students from this field. But for that you need advanced knowledge. So only completing BSc is probably not enough. If you want to do research, you have to complete MSc and probably subsequently do PhD also. And if you go outside of India, abroad, USA or UK or any developed country or developing countries, certain developing countries, there is a big sector that hire researcher from all over the world. Many students actually go to USA or UK to do research from India. I also have gone. After finishing my studies, I also spent 7 years in USA doing research using different kinds.
So which was your university and what was your topic?
I worked in two different universities. One is San Diego State University in California, and then I went to University of Texas at Austin. Actually, we worked on antimicrobial compounds, to development of antimicrobial compounds which can be utilized, because as you know, there are lots of different types of microorganisms every day growing, and we don't have enough antibiotics. Okay, and antibiotic development is like 20 years. It takes 10 to 20 years to develop a new antibiotic. Yeah. So we cannot spend that much of time. So we need to think about novel approaches by which we can actually quickly come up with certain antimicrobials. So I actually worked into that field.
That's interesting. That's interesting. 7 years of research you have put in before taking up academic job. Yes. So that's another big area of research and academics, and globally and particularly developing countries also would need researchers in a big way. And this research is not about just PhD, it's research about developing new products, it's research about understanding the quality control of new products and many other things. So if we look into the overarching view, the School of Biotech and Life Sciences, I'm right this time, what are the unique features, USPs and strengths of the school in Adamas University in comparison to this education in many other universities of India, particularly East Northeast India?
So USPs, I want to emphasize on interdisciplinary research, because today's world you cannot survive without interdisciplinary research. Is one of the major focus in the school. We have enough intellectual capital and infrastructural support that can support these kinds of advanced programs in our school. We also we have very much emphasis on one particular segment, which is entrepreneurship development. Okay, so we have a biotech club where students, even if its name is biotech, it does not mean only biotechnology students can involve into. Any students who have analytical mind, think about certain ways to solve a problem, they can get into the club, and we support our students to do different kinds of entrepreneurship development programs. They innovate, they have certain ideas, they actually submit those ideas to government agencies, they actually getting funded and getting recognized by national and national level programs. That's quite unique. So these one area which we are basically focused on. So entrepreneurship development is one of the segment. Also community service. We want students to be socially responsible. Not only they need to understand. That's why, as I said, we want to get into the social services, work collaboratively with the social science and other things, because community service is actually would help our students to develop sympathy as well as empathy, because in today's world is very rough. We need to survive in this world. We need to show sympathy to the other persons. For example, the persons who are getting infected by COVID-19. Yes. And we have seen there are issues that, because we don't have awareness, that's why some people are actually avoiding the family members of the COVID-19 patients. That actually should not be done, because we should not actually do those kinds of things that actually harmful for the society. So we want students to get involved certain kind of community service to develop these kinds of characteristics into them. So that's another sector segment that we want to focus on.
So I appreciate you have a 20-member young intellectual capital, professors, academicians coming from various universities around the world to teach here the 3 areas, 3 departments that you talk about. You have very high-tech infrastructure which you detailed earlier, and you are encouraging interdisciplinary research, particularly with all the schools that are here, and in more specifically to the schools in the science or the STEM area, engineering included. And you are also creating a biotech club where students are getting projects from the industry, and you are encouraging community service and community interaction of the students to develop that empathy which is so much required in a world full of discrimination and stigma. Wow, that's indeed an overarching domain. Oh, I missed out one point, entrepreneurship. You are also developing entrepreneurial skills, professional development skills, which are also necessary for youngsters who would like to work in private sector and maybe sometimes become bio-entrepreneurs or biotech entrepreneurs in times to come. India has a very good history of medicines, of pharmacy, of biotechnology in this country. Biocon was one example. There are many other examples. Very recently we have this Serum Institute of India from Pune, run by the Poonawallas, famous Cyrus Poonawalla and family, which has been collaborating with Oxford University to develop vaccines and antidotes on COVID-19, and on their own investing money to develop the thing and to see if they run well, if they go well. Would you like to speak a bit about the progress that has been made with respect to antidote and vaccine on the novel coronavirus disease, or as we call nCovid?
Yes. To understand COVID-19, we need to understand the whole coronavirus phenomena. You know, coronavirus is not only a single virus, it is a group of viruses, and some of them are harmful for human, some of them are not harmful for human. Actually, there are 7 different strains of coronaviruses that can infect and cause diseases in human. 4 of them are causing mild cold like symptoms, so they are actually not harmful, but other 3, the SARS, MERS and the COVID-19, these 3 are actually harmful. SARS was actually originated in 2003 and actually killed around 800 people all over the world. 26 different countries were infected, and but it was contained within very short period of 4 months. Then in MERS, which originated in 2012, and it again about 900 people died due to these kinds of disease. But even if till today we do not have actually vaccines for SARS or MERS, but we able to contain the disease by social distancing and testing, thorough testing and other measures.
Oh, there is no foolproof medicine on that. Okay.
Till now there is no foolproof medicine for SARS and MERS. COVID-19 is similar to SARS and MERS. It is actually called SARS-2 because it is very similar to the previous SARS, which was originated in 2003. So what the difference, main difference between the SARS-1 and SARS-2 that we call as COVID-19 is that COVID-19 creates many asymptomatic cases.
Okay.
So let us say if it the particular virus infects 100%, about 70% is actually asymptomatic. They do,
I mean, you don't feel that they are diseased.
They
look normal. They look normal. They behave normal. There is no body pain. There is no what you call coughing, dry cough. There is no fever. But still the virus can be there.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
very dangerous, yeah.
But they can actually infect others. Asymptomatic patients can infect other persons. Okay. So that's why it is more dangerous than the other 2, because in other 2 cases the asymptomatic percentage was very low. Here it is like 70% or close to 70%. So huge number of people actually infected, but we don't know that we are infected, and we are talking to other person, mixing with other person, and actually we are spreading the disease. That's why it actually become a big.
But
big
then only
issue.
3% die of the disease, and the critical element is also less than 5%.
Absolutely.
95% are treatable easily.
Absolutely.
Right?
95% people can recover, only 2-3% are
But there is no medicine at the moment.
There is no
So how
medicine.
do they recover? Only by resting or quarantining?
Absolutely, because it's a cycle. The virus has a life cycle. Once
Okay, 14 days or
after 14 or 15 days or within a month, virus can be removed. And our body, because as I said, our body has defense mechanisms. They wants to get rid of all the pathogenic microorganisms that are harmful for our body. Probably initially they won't be able to withstand the onslaught of the virus, but with time they actually understand. Our body starts to understand
Great.
what kind of molecules they should produce to actually.
So what do you
inhibit.
think? By what time we shall have a vaccine or a antidote to this?
Usually a vaccine development cycle takes couple of years, but as it's a critical situation all over the world, and every government actually pouring money focusing on the only development of this particular vaccine. So in my opinion, my assumption is by next year we should have a vaccine.
What is the remdesivir that has been talked about?
Actually, there are 10-20 different types of drugs that's already available. Actually, what happened, if you're going to develop a new drug, it will take a lot of time.
So you're trying to understand the existing drugs,
Absolutely.
add some elements to it.
Absolutely. So already there are existing antiviral drugs are there from other diseases. We are testing whether we can use those drugs as a repurposed drug, and remdesivir is one of those.
Right,
drugs.
repurposed drugs.
Repurposed drugs.
So guys, you had a great learning today over the last 50 minutes to 52 minutes perhaps of understanding life sciences to begin with, and then get into biotechnology, human focused biotechnology, biochemistry, chemical drugs and chemical solutions focused for disease, that technology or that area, and microbiology, which is focused on microorganisms, viruses included, which also includes virology as a component of microbiology. And we had also learned about bioinformatics, where big data is used for understanding health situations and trying to come out with solutions, healthcare solutions. So we have understood 4 top areas. We also understood about pharmaceutical technology, which focuses on dosages, the right dosages for specific diseases and specific body types or history. And we've also understood how they differ from medical science, where people have the right to or the license to prescribe drugs and treat. And these differences leading to the understanding of how important is the study of biology and life sciences, how significant and who can come there, and what does Adamas University have to offer across 3 departments of biochemistry, biotechnology and microbiology. And these 3 departments, with 20 smart, young, internationally researched and educated, larger number of them, almost all of them having PhD degrees as well, many doing postdocs as well. They have come together with an advanced infrastructure based on the vision of the Chancellor of the university to create Eastern India's perhaps the best laboratory facility of biotechnology and biochemistry and microbiology. And this education that they're giving is directly having repercussions even from campus with consultancy and paid projects from private sector and government of India through DST, and also leading them, these youngsters, to do research abroad and within India with different organizations. You had also understood that Biotech Club of this university itself takes up projects from the market, from the industry and from government bodies, and creates products which can be useful for their work. And they are also integrating entrepreneurship and community outreach in the work that they are doing at this place. And this is a unique area because generally the same amount of knowledge is given in every course more or less, but this additional input of interdisciplinarity, additional input of entrepreneurship, of community outreach makes particularly the Adamas School of Life Science and Biotechnology unique. You have had the chance of interacting with Dr. Rudra Prasad Saha, Associate Dean, the young, vibrant, knowledgeable, erudite and calm, a personality with calmness, who has presented to you all the aspects related to this field that will now help you to take a career decision going ahead. Thank you.